Hello and welcome to the Pixelated Realms Gamescast, your guide to the digital landscape, untangling the mysteries of your favorite titles and discussing the latest and greatest in video game fun. I'm your host, Alex Salerno. Alongside me is my brother Tyler and my good friend Dustin. What's up, guys?
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, another beautiful day in the gaming world. Well, actually, it's kind of a shitty week, to be honest. But let's not start
Bungie continues to suck.
Yeah, Bungie's just getting worse by the day. And then Game Informer and just
That shit is brutal.
Dude, yeah. We'll talk about that for sure as we go along. But today we're going to be going over kind of our weekly recap of the games that we're playing and just, general news like we always do. Then we're going to answer some questions, and you can write in at pixelatedrealms.org/ask and leave us a question or a comment. We'll talk about it on air. And then we're going to discuss today's topic, which is this the worst year in gaming?
The worst year.
The worst year
The
ever.
worst.
Yes. So let's dive right in. What are you guys playing?
All right. I won't start. You start, Dustin.
I'm still very much playing Elden Ring. I am up to level 140, I think. Somewhere right there, very close. I just got through the Ashen Capital after defeating the Black Hand fuckface in the floating final dungeon. So yeah, I went to the Ashen Capital. I was super pissed because, you can't ride torrent, whatever. And so, you just run forward, and then, there's, this big-ass hole to go down in the sewer. You're like, oh, I should totally go down there. That must be the way into the capital.
Don't do it.
To the Erdtree, to the final boss, Big Dick Boss. And so I literally cleared the whole sewer out, looking around for, a fucking ladder up into the rest of the capital. Couldn't find it, and I was like, this is fucking, they're just fucking trolling. They're trolling by putting this hole right here. So I was like, I'm just going to see if there's a different way to get in the capital. And of course, you go off to the left, and you just go right up this thing, and bam, you fight.
Took you 2 seconds.
A summoned character, fuck his ass up, and then you go up and fight the Elden Lord, the first Elden Lord, and then the Big Dick Boss. But so fucked up the Elden Lord second try, and then actually that fight was pretty disappointing. I don't know. If I could go back in time, if I had the patience, and I was 10 years younger, I would want to do New Game Plus and beat these bosses without my Mimic. Because my Mimic is tanky, and if I just let it draw aggro, I can just go behind. I'm dual wielding maxed out Naga whatever katana and then the blood katana, and I'm just fucking unleashing, So I mean, I'm taking these guys down super easy when my Mimic can take that face damage. So yeah, I beat the boss in the crumbled whatever in the third try, and then beat the Elden Lord in the second try. The final boss is much more difficult because
he's tough.
Him and then Melania, Blade of Mikulai, she anything that kills my Mimic, pretty early or at least midway through. So my Mimic with Melania, she's just tough because she has the bloodlust. But yeah, if my Mimic dies halfway through, then I'm like, oh shit. So yeah, I don't know. Some of the boss fights that are supposed to be really difficult have just been way too easy because of my Mimic pulling. Mog, I fucked him up too, down in the palace thing in the lake. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Part of me is I'm kind of cool to beat these without my Mimic, so that it feels a little bit more of an accomplishment. But then again, I just don't have the patience to want to do that. And so yeah, I'm very close to beating the original game, and then I'll jump in and go to the shadow area. But before I pass my turn, I want to ask you guys a question, and we might have time for this somewhere else. So if you guys want to talk about this somewhere else, let me know. But did you guys see the Star Wars Outlaws season pass that dropped today?
No. What is
it? Did, yeah.
What is it?
I'm a little. Okay, I'm gonna post it in the Discord so you can see it. I'm a little upset with it, honestly. I've only looked at this. I haven't read the blog, so take it with a grain of salt. But I do not like when a season pass includes exclusive content. This says exclusive mission. So if you can only play that mission if you buy the season pass, I think that's a bit of a bummer.
Mm-hmm. That is
I don't.
it's just like it's kind of like giving your game like less of a chance to succeed. Like you need all the content you can get.
Yeah, and I'm okay with cosmetics, obviously, in the season pass. We've talked about season passes quite a bit on this, but I'm a little bummed that like this really cool Kessel like run, like Han's outfit is like locked behind that. But yeah, and I don't know what Story Pack 1 and Story Pack 2 are. Again, I haven't read into this, but if that is more story missions, or story content, like that's a huge fucking L, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like they're really trying to push people to go for Ubisoft Plus subscriptions, which is probably what I'm going to end up doing because it's like even if I just pay the $18 or whatever, I get the best version of the game, and even if I play the game for a month or two, you know, I'm not going to be playing it in 3 months unless I
So
am,
does this have the same opportunity as Skull and Bones, where you can just pay the subscription
Yeah,
and you get access to the game?
yeah.
Yeah, so
And
just buy the 1 month.
I'm like,
Does
that's
that
fine.
include the season pass too, or is that
Yeah, it
extra?
includes everything. It includes like the deluxe version of the game, basically.
But that doesn't always mean the season pass is included in that though, right? Like,
It is. I saw it on the thing
okay,
today.
cool, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean
It's just because it's an Ubisoft game.
yeah. I mean then that's kind of like, well, after if you crush through it,
It's like
the game.
$110 or $18 for a month. It's like I don't know. Taking the chance, I rather just pay the $18. If I absolutely love the game, then I can go back and buy whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was gonna get on the PlayStation, so I can't use the monthly subscription service. But now I don't know. Maybe
Well, yeah.
it's like the worst you could do is it's like a trial. But yeah, it's weird that they're calling it a season pass though for like a single player game.
Yeah,
Like
it doesn't make sense.
yeah, like why isn't this just called like the deluxe edition? Because unless their plan is, oh, we're gonna have a season's worth of DLC every year, but that's still not like the traditional notion
What
of a
is a
season pass.
season in a single player game, right? We've talked about this before. Like, it's such
Yeah,
a weird idea. And it's like, just call it additional content. Like, I don't know why it'd have to be a season pass.
yeah. Like what do they call it? DLC pack 1 or something, like anything but this.
Additional
Yeah.
mission. I don't care. But it's not a season pass. Like, I'm not playing to build up to something in a season of content. I feel like it's just a word for like phase, right? It's like phase 1 is season pass 1. It's phase 1 of content. Okay, fine, but why call it season pass?
They might just be calling it seasonal in that regards that maybe they have like plans to drop for a year, or like something like that, where it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't like the terminology either, but I don't really think there's like great like alternative to like sell cosmetics, and then like gatekeep these missions. But yeah, I don't. Do you even need cosmetics in a sequel? Like you're literally buying it just for yourself to see it, which
Yeah, I mean, it
it
depends on
just
how
feels like
good
a
the
huge
game
cash
is.
grab. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
This is not exciting news, and like I
No.
feel like we've all been like strong advocates for Star Wars Outlaws since like it was announced, and like we've been huge advocates against like these fucking trolls who are hating on the characters and different stuff. So like we've been on board with this game, but like I do not support this, what they're doing here, um, at all.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's a single player game. Like why would they try and do this kind of like it's I mean every business person in video gaming is like trying to chase this like never ending stream of money that they can get in quote unquote live service games. And so they're trying to apply those same things everywhere that they possibly can. And it's like nobody's falling for it.
Yeah, I would much rather them just call it like, yeah, like a what does Destiny call it? Um, not their full expansions, but is it
The
season pass?
episodes.
Maybe episode. Yeah, maybe it's
They
episode. Maybe
just
it's like
switched. They used to do seasons with a season pass, and now it's called episodes.
yeah. I don't know. There just could be a better way to, say like, because if like there has to be a way to continue to make money off this game. There just has to be because the sales of the original game, like that basically recovers the money from the development, right? And if like from the original development, if you want to continue to see content fall for this game and come out for years to come, like I'm sure Ubisoft has plans for, then like there has to be a way to continue to generate revenue to continue to fund the developers working on it. But yeah, locking stuff behind seasons sucks.
I don't know. It's just weird to me. Like, why call it a season pass? Like, why? I don't know. Why like come out the gate like this? And they did the same thing with Avatar Frontier of Pandora.
Right.
And I'm trying to think like there's a few other games they did the same thing too. I can't remember, but it's like I don't know why you're like releasing a game and then being like, "Hey, there's actually going to be a paid mission you can get additional." I'm like, I already feel ripped off. It's like I
Yeah.
don't like that approach at all. And they seem to really love it.
Yeah. I'm still excited for the game, but business people gonna business, and it's I don't know. You're right. Like it just feels kind of sleazy.
Mhm.
It feels like they're trying to pull a fast one, already, and the game isn't even out yet. And it's like, okay, I mean, if I'm always down for DLC, but I kind of want to buy it like as is. I don't want to be like gimmicked into like pre-buying something without even knowing.
Is this better?
Yeah. Yeah. Your mic issue is fixed. Thank you.
Yeah, whatever you did is
For
stopped.
some reason, it won't let me. It won't let me use my desktop mic. It was pulling my audio from my headset mic, which was pushed in next to my speaker.
Oh,
That's why I was
interesting.
picking up. I didn't realize it was, and I'm trying to switch it, but it won't actually let me move it onto.
Oh,
You're good.
Oh,
you
I
can't
can't
do
switch
it.
mics while we're recording. That's why.
Oh,
Oh well,
yeah.
but it's fine.
Oh, well.
This is fine.
Anyway, we
sorry.
kind of going into Outlaws. We were talking about what games we were playing. I've still been playing New Vegas a lot, which is really fun. But I'm just like, and it has amazing quests. Like it's some really really good quests. I will give New Vegas that. And I'm trying to see the like this is the best RPG ever in the game, but like it's really held back by its engine. Like it's just
Yeah.
clunky and menuing is really difficult with your Pip-Boy, and like you have to hit tab and you have to click through the Pip-Boy for all these really really important things.
Yeah,
So it's just
even
kind
in
of
the
like-
new one.
Well, in the new one there's conveniences. Like if you hit like I, you go to your inventory. If you hit M, you go to your map. In New Vegas you don't, or in Fallout 3 you don't. You have to go to your your Pip-Boy. So it's the inconveniences of that stuff does tend to wear on me, especially when like the quest, you're trying to find something really specific for a quest in the building, and it's like, oh, the quest needs you to go through this door, so I go through that door. And then it's like, the quest needs you to go through that door again. And I'm like, I turn around, I go through the door again, and I'm like, okay, so where do I need to go? It's like some of those kind of like frustrating moments where I'm like, I would be having a great time if I could just be playing the quest, but I'm like having a hard time like understanding where the game wants me to go. So
Yeah.
it's still a lot of fun, but it's just been like an interesting journey trying to like figure that out.
Yeah,
How about
everybody.
yourself out? Oh, sorry. Go
Oh,
ahead.
me. Yeah. I have been playing. I've been trying to give Oh, sorry. I've been trying to give Starfield another shot, and like, because I want to love a game that is like a space, kind
Yeah.
of game that's kind of, I want to live that like roguish lifestyle in space, and so there are games out there that like get really close, but none of them I feel like have really nailed it. There's this old game called Freelancer that was really, really fun, and a lot of games have been trying to replicate that for so long, and Starfield is one of them. And so I've been playing it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna beat the game, and I'm probably like halfway through, because I never beat it in my first run, and and that one was so old I started over, and I was like, maybe with the new updates it'll be better, and whatever. Now the game is still. It's weird because there are very good parts,
Yeah.
but they're surrounded by a bunch of boring parts. And
Yeah.
so the good parts don't feel as good because all of the boring, you have to slog through all the boring stuff. I mean, literally the beginning of the game feels like a slog. Like the first, like until you get to the lodge, which is the constellation, the group you're part of's like main base.
Yeah.
The time to get there is like 30 minutes, and everything in that time is so boring. It's so useless. There's like nothing to it. The story is just okay. It doesn't have any grip over you. The world, the universe is just okay. It's kind of like one of those games that's like, and I've talked about this before. This isn't the first time, but it's like a mile wide and an inch deep. Like it's very shallow. There's not a lot of detail to it. And like even the parts that I really want to love, like try and be like, you know what? Okay, even though there's not the best story or whatever, and there's a lot of boring parts, maybe I'll just build a cool ship and just be this space pirate. No, the ship building is awful. You're very limited in your parts. You can't tell at all what part the interior is when you're building it. So you have to build it, walk in, look around and be like, is this gonna work? No, and then like leave. It tells you like this is the armory, this is the living quarters, but you have no idea what's actually inside. And then you can't even rotate the parts. So like everything is like looking forward basically, and it's really hard to build a ship that looks cool in it, honestly.
The fact that you can't see the interior pieces makes no like what?
Yeah.
Who thought that was okay?
And they only added the interior decoration after the game came out. And it's just like, okay, it's not even that great. It really is just like, now you can put a workbench here or whatever. So it's just not super fun. And like the cities are the most boring cities of any open sandbox game like I've ever seen. They're so vanilla. It's like, okay, there's a gun store, there's a general store, there's a couple of points of interest for missions, and that's it. And so then you're thinking to yourself, maybe they want to get you to explore the world. You go out into the world, like beyond the cities, empty. They're completely
empty.
Completely fucking empty. There's nothing there, and it's like 10 miles you have to walk because there's no vehicles. You have to walk to go to this next point of interest where there's, and it's the same shit every time. Either it's a cave that you have to clear out, get to the back of, get whatever you're getting, and then walk back through that is empty cave, or it's some base overrun by raiders. That's the entire game, like over and over and over again. And I'm just thinking, like, this is a AAA game.
The mechanics are shooting, right? Shooting or stabbing, but like that's it, right? It's not like the combat's not very exhilarating.
No, the combat's not even that great. Like the gun aiming is super clunky. Like it feels like it has like the face of a AAA game with the bones of like an early 2000s game. Like it seems.
I mean, so I downloaded it too because I saw you were playing, and I was like, okay, I want to like jump in again. And yeah, it's just like it's like deceiving because it's visually, it's like incredibly impressive, and I'm like, wow, like this is a marvel. Like this is a modern game. Going from Fallout. Which I know is not Bethesda, but going from Fallout to like Starfield is like such a big jump. But
you mean New Vegas is not?
Oh, I'm sorry, New Vegas. New
Specifically,
Vegas.
I was like,
Fallout
wait,
is
what?
Bethesda.
I was so confused.
So specifically going from New Vegas to Starfield is a big jump in quality, but like think about like the quest quality goes down so significantly. So where in Fallout, where you're in the wasteland, but the quests are like really interesting and fun, and like I don't know, I just did a quest yesterday to like help these two fall in love, and I had to like get permission from their like leaders for this to happen, and all these like silly things. So like Fallout to me, like, and because of its quirkiness, it's fun to do, and the quests are interesting. Like Starfield is like missing that. Like it's missing some like reason for us to be there.
It's
They
missing
should
a
have made
lot.
it a VR game, so then like 5 missions that were like really repetitive would have been okay.
They should have had less planets. They should have had like a galaxy's worth of planets. They didn't need to have like 1,000.
Well, I don't even think it's that. I think it's just like Constellation is boring, and like we don't have like a Jedi Order or a I don't know. We don't have a reason to exist in that world. Like, there's no war. There's no you know what I mean? Like, there's no conflict.
There's no conflict.
There's no conflict.
I think you're right. You're super right. There's no conflict. You're literally like a Star Trek and kind of a organization that's just out there to explore.
I think that's the biggest problem.
And you don't even have there's no hook. So like in the beginning, you find this artifact and you're like, ooh, the whole hook is supposed to be, what's this artifact? You literally spend the entire game trying to figure out what this artifact is.
Thing.
But there's never any hook. There's never any like, this artifact is going to do something.
Might mean something.
No, literally the whole time they're like, I don't know what it does.
It's kind of like No Man's Sky in the beginning.
Yeah, well, okay, I want to talk about that too. But I know we're kind of running over a little bit. But so having played Starfield, I was like, okay, I always do this rotation. I go to Starfield and then I go, no, this sucks, and then I re-download No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky, in all of its bad, it's actually pretty good now. In that it's very
impressive.
It's very playable. There's a lot of stuff, and it's kind of what I wanted Starfield to be. The difference being Starfield is like a closed ecosystem, a single player game, when No Man's Sky is kind of this like multiplayer-ish world that's kind of shared. And so there's like limits that come along with that. But No Man's Sky has come so far, and there is a lot of fun to be found there. But you're right, No Man's Sky doesn't have a lot of quests that will or let me say this again. It doesn't have like a lot of story to really drive you. The idea is to be like an explorer and to just kind of want to be out there and to like upgrade all your stuff and get further and further out and build up your base if you want to do that as well. And and they've done a lot of really cool things to encourage that, with like the fleets and all the base building and the settlements that you can have now, and it is really cool. And I think it's something that I was talking to you guys earlier, that like maybe this should be our new Sea of Thieves, because we kind of like to have a game that is like very casual, that we can talk while playing and not really matter what we're doing. And that was Sea of Thieves for a long time, and I think No Man's Sky could really take that spot, because it's like there's really not a lot of story there for us to engage in, and there's really no way you can screw it up. So like if we're just getting destroyed by something or whatever, it doesn't matter. We can just fly to planets and check things out and grow our little base and do all that kind of stuff, and there's a lot of value in that. Starfield has like all the it's like, okay, it needs a story, doesn't have a good story. All right, well then maybe the exploration is fun. No, the exploration is not fun. All right, maybe just being
I wish we could invite
pirate.
This guy Benjamin Cratch. He reviewed Starfield for PC World. He said the best his question, Starfield review, the best game Bethesda ever created, ? And then his subhead is, Starfield is the best role-playing game Bethesda has ever developed. It's AAA level No Man's Sky mixed with Fallout 5, Cyberpunk 2077, and a lot of Mass Effect. It does a lot right, but still won't make everyone happy. Sounds like you guys are in the not happy category.
Yeah,
that's a big review on a game. Like I wanna hear the follow up. I'll have to read that.
Benjamin, you got to come on the podcast, and I'll be the moderator, and you guys can just debate about why this game's the greatest ever or the worst ever.
Yeah.
Where's the conflict?
I mean, I will say that there's probably a big group of people who find this game very fun. And
those people suck. No, just kidding. Kidding.
The game is beautiful. That's basically the only thing. I would dare say
it's kind of more like a simulator to me. Like it's
it is.
If it's gonna scratch the itch of me wanting to play like a space kind of game. But
the problem is it doesn't even do that part well. Like you can't even fly. The this has been highly criticized, so I'm not going to go into it, but the like fast travel, between the ship, you can't even simulate flying your ship off planet into space to another place. No, you have to go to the menus. And so it's like loading screen to loading screen to loading screen, right? And none of that part, like that flow is fun.
I see they did not do anything about the weird like travel map thing. It's so confusing. You'll like hit a button, it'll like zoom in, zoom out, zoom back in, travel, don't travel. You're like, what is happening?
Yeah, like I see what the vision of the game was supposed to be. They wanted this like exploration based game, but they just didn't hit it. It looks beautiful, I'll give them that, but I'm gonna say something kind of crazy here.
Of anime, or of gaming.
we're definitely gonna go over today. I can tell you that time wise. But I ever since I want to say since maybe Oblivion, I don't think Bethesda has made a good game. I think they have made a good game. I would go that far. I would honestly go that far. I think they make good enough games.
Just mean.
But I don't think they are anywhere near what they used to be. The Morrowind, the Oblivions, Fallout 1 and 2, like that
I've
generation.
I've never been a fan of their games for the most part. Let's see, what does that not include? Okay, so when did Oblivion? Where the fuck is that? Oh my god, we're pretty far.
2001, 2004.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Really? So in the last 20 years, they haven't made a good game? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but they make so few games in that time. They make a game like every 6 to 8 years.
I feel like
So
Fallout
even
4
in
was
that-
you said Fallout 4 was your favorite Fallout game.
Yeah, you got Fallout
Yeah, it doesn't
4.
mean I think it's a good game.
Oh my
Dishonored
gosh.
2 was highly reviewed. Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus was considered to be pretty fucking good. Doom
All right,
Eternal.
that's too much. We need to go to questions. Hard pivot because that
Hi-Fi
is too
Rush.
good.
I think
These
they
are-
did Hi-Fi Rush. No, they
Did they
didn't do
publish
Hi-Fi
it?
Rush. They published these because the core team I don't think made any of those.
That was that independent studio that got shut down.
Okay, so we're talking Bethesda Game Studios. Okay, that's totally different.
Yeah, because I like Wolfenstein. That game was fun for the action
I
game.
like
and Doom.
Skyrim. I don't know what you're talking about.
I like Skyrim. Okay, maybe since Skyrim, but the thing with Skyrim also though has some things about it that I would do differently. But I guess you're
don't
right.
like
I think
magic, but still, but yeah.
But yeah, okay.
As
I'll
long as you
retract
play
since
a
Skyrim.
thief, stealth thief archer.
A stealth archer.
you have a
Right,
great
since
time. Yeah.
since Skyrim though, I know we're gonna move on. They've only created the Fallout games, and then there was one Elder Scrolls Blades, which I'm assuming is
It's a
It's a
expansion.
phone game. It's a phone.
Oh, okay, but
Garbage.
other than that, they don't have another game until Starfield, so they actually went 5 years.
Maybe
from
you're
Elder
right.
Scrolls, 6
So
years
yeah,
since.
Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, Starfield. Am I missing one? But yeah, all four of those games were just good enough.
I didn't like Fallout 4. I played it for an hour, and I was like, "This isn't for me."
Yeah,
I
and
beat it, and I was like, I don't like it.
yeah, like there's a lot of redeemable things in there, and a lot of people can find fun anywhere and will. You know what I mean? As a gamer, if you really try, you can find fun in a game.
Yeah, of course.
That doesn't necessarily make that game good. It just makes you a good gamer. So I feel like in a lot of those games, good gamers will make the game fun by changing the rules of the game. But I would say that those games are just mediocre. I've already talked way too fucking long
All right,
on
let's
this, and I apologize. So we're gonna move. We're gonna go to our
Too
section
late to apologize.
where we ask Pixelated Realms. So if you want to ask a question or leave us a comment, you can go to pixelatedrealms.org/ask, and we will talk about it right now.
Alex, call my cell phone real fast. Call my cell phone real fast.
God damn it!
I know it's right there. I heard it. Hold on.
Yeah, but
Hold on. Just call me. I'll show you guys something.
I'm calling you.
I'll just make sure it's not going to dox you, though. I'm
It's
going to show
too
my
late.
screen. Yeah, see? Look at that. Look at this cool background I have. That,
Oh my
it,
god.
scrolls
AI.
through. Yeah, how cool is that? It's like a photo.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
where you can't
crazy.
see, he's got some he's got the waifu on there. That's I don't know who that is.
that's
Is that a
Yamato.
character from later?
Character, Yeah.
Yeah.
See, you said you're on Kaido. You should know who that is.
I'm not there yet. I am at Kaido, but I'm not at whoever that is yet.
That's Yamato. Yeah,
but,
she'll be introduced
see
very
soon.
soon.
Yeah, I'm pretty far into it, I guess. But
All right,
anyways,
sorry, go
no,
ahead.
back on topic.
All right, back
We're
on
so
topic.
bad at this. We were good last 2 episodes, and now we're fucking it up again. All right. So we actually have a couple questions today. So not that we don't know, we normally do, but we have a couple good questions today. So let's
Ralph's
start off
questions always
with.
suck, so that's why they're good
Yeah,
questions
well, he's
today.
going first. Yeah, we have somebody other than Ralph. We have a mystery person, too. So whoever that is, we don't know.
Thank
But
you.
Yeah, we love you.
for Ralph, for games that had sequels, what game had a great initial game but you didn't like the next game, or vice versa? A good second game but disliked the first game. So
It's funny
That's
that
interesting.
he asked that question because I was watching Kind of Funny Gamescast podcast, and they were talking about like the best sequels that were better than the original. And it really pissed me off that none of them thought of my favorite one, that is Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 1's a really good game, but like Mass Effect 2 is like another, like 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10 contender for one of the best games ever made, in my opinion. That's all I'll say to that question.
Yeah, you said the worst, right? Not the one you like the best.
Well, you said the other way around, too.
So, like, the first one was just okay, and the second one was like a
Okay.
masterpiece.
I was going to say, I don't think
he
any
also asked the
00
other way
game...
around.
I don't think any 007 game lived up to GoldenEye, after GoldenEye.
Never will.
There was a couple, actually. Did you ever play Nightfire? That one was really good.
Nightfire?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I
we owned it
that
on
one.
GameCube.
Okay, well, the ones directly after GoldenEye sucked.
You're just thinking of GoldenEye, the remake. That sucked.
No, GoldenEye was the best.
N64, baby. That shit was the bomb.
No, the remake. Yeah. Anyway.
Good one. Banjo-Kazooie was amazing. The Banjo-Tooie was just okay.
It's a good one.
I know that was going pretty far back, but that was just the first thing that popped into my brain. This is by Mystery Person. So it looks like Destiny 3 is officially dead, if it even ever lived. Sad news is more layoffs and canceled projects. I was looking forward to maybe getting back into Destiny with the new game, as I've kind of drifted away from it over the years. And I've heard many people on Reddit, some elsewhere, complain about how difficult it was to start up Destiny 2 for the first time, not knowing how it works, because, you know, now it's so detailed. Too difficult an entry point so late in the game's life cycle. And in the article I was reading, it said Bungie's going to be run by Sony now, which can't be good for development of their properties. I don't know how things are run at Sony, but being a bigger company can be better than a smaller team for dev. So lame. So yeah, so this is a good kind of segue into, like, you know, the Bungie layoffs and stuff like that. And we'll talk about that, I think, a little bit more in our next segment. But yeah, that's a tough spot, because Destiny 2 ended with the final shape, and it definitely felt like a hard end, which would make us think that, oh, there's a Destiny 3 follow-up to this in some shape, you know, some kind of form or whatever. And with all of these layoffs, this is their second round of layoffs in the last year, I believe. And they're just getting killed. And the problem is, so like Sony bought them for their technology, because debatably, right, they're one of the few companies that does live service games and is surviving and is actually like pulling it off. Right? There's not very many today that are like still going, you know, all the Riot games, Fortnite, stuff like that, right? Not counting like a traditional MMO. And so Destiny is one of the few that's kind of like survived the times. And so Sony bought them for their technology, right? They wanted to be able to take that. And, you know, they had that big push where they wanted more and more live service games. So they wanted Destiny to be the backbone for that. And what I'm really afraid over all of this is, other than Marathon, which is still in production, like if Marathon doesn't like really hit, let's say it doesn't. Let's say Marathon comes out and it's good, but it's not good enough to like survive the live service bump, you know, that like initial like interest bump. Then what's going to happen in my mind, right? I kind of see this as, is Destiny going to be Skeleton Crew? Is Marathon going to get, you know...
Seems like it's already Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, like unsupported. So then Bungie is no longer going to create games, and they're just going to support other Sony titles that are live services, and just become this like service company. And that's kind of how I like see it going. And the way that the industry has been going lately, like I'm really sad to see like the OG companies like Bungie, you know, kind of have this issue. And the funny thing is, this isn't the first time Bungie has like struggled. You know, they were bought by Microsoft, then they split off from Microsoft, and then they were solo for a while. They were solo, got bought, they were solo, now they're bought again. And like they've just been like, you know, gasping for air, I feel like, for so long. I really hope, and as someone who plays Destiny like a lot, you know, I totally feel what you were saying about it, like being really hard to jump into and it being such a big undertaking to do so. Like a Destiny 3 is kind of just the natural next thing for them to do. And I don't know if that'll ever happen. I don't think that's going to get greenlit unless Sony decides to really throw the money at them.
Well, from what I read, that they're turning away from Destiny. First off, if a Destiny 3 existed, I think it was probably 3 to 5 years away at the earliest. Because they don't even have anything online about hiring for like a another game. It was like Marathon. There was another one that they're developing.
Which they announced that they split off the company and merged into Sony.
So, yeah, I think like you're years away from a Destiny 3. It would have never came out before Marathon comes out. And I don't even know if Marathon's a real name or if that's still the code name, but whatever.
That's the real name.
Sounds like a code name.
It's
Sounds
a
like a code
remake of
name.
an old game Bungie made called Marathon with the same name.
Oh, interesting. So there's that. And then I would say that educate yourself on PlayStation first-party studios because they have created some of the best games in the past 10 years. You have Insomniac, God of War. That's
Santa Monica.
Santa Monica Studios.
Yeah, Santa Monica's God of War. Insomniac created the Spider-Man games. You have Naughty Dog, which everyone knows what Naughty Dog has created. So, I mean, like, Sony ran studios have literally been the best in the business.
They've been leading the charge, yeah.
Yeah, like, they are the absolute primo games right now. And, I mean, it's honestly the reason why there's so many conversations, in my opinion, about like games being available on other platforms because Sony is killing it so fucking hard that like Xbox wants these games on Xbox and PC wants them available on PC. I don't know if they're on PC at all. Some of them might be, but
most of them go to PC after a year.
So ideally, right, like you would see Bungie flourish because they're now under Sony's umbrella. So we'll see what happens, but it's not a great start, that's for sure.
No.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like I think Sony wanted exactly what you were talking about. I think they bought them with the expectation that they were going to turn them into another, AAA, PlayStation or Sony's, level studio. And I think there's just something happening internally that's preventing that.
I don't know if it was you who was telling me this, but like that Sony really acquired Bungie for like some underlying technology that they use and not really their games.
Yeah.
So, there's something to that as well of like, yeah, as you said, like, does Sony even really care if Bungie does like long-term succeed because like they're not as invested in it as because they just wanted that tech, but I don't know. Yeah. We'll see. Pete Parsons, piece of shit though. So.
See the car guy?
Yeah, he's the CEO of Bungie who spent like $2.5 million on like 23 cars after they were acquired by Microsoft. He actually invited a developer or somebody at Bungie to his house to check out his car collection 2 days before she was laid off. She posted on Twitter. She said, "You literally just invited me to your house to check out your car collection 2 days ago."
Jeez.
Yeah, what a piece of shit. All right, next question. This is from Patrick. Hey guys, with the news of the Game Informer shutting down after 33 years, I felt a twinge of loss of old video game nostalgia. Flipping through the pages of a gaming magazine, looking up cool upcoming games, secrets and Easter eggs, articles pulling up the curtain showing insider scopes, I think it's scoops. I haven't personally read a magazine in years, but curious if you guys were even subscribed to any or currently are. If there are any left. Does this feel like a loss to you guys, or does it matter with online gaming sites now? Me personally, from that generation and stuff, like I feel it as a huge loss. I think they were honestly the last big magazine. I think they were the last one, at least in America, that was left that was still printed in like a real print.
I didn't
magazine.
even know it was still printed.
Yeah, they still did print edition.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a Nintendo Power guy.
Nintendo
I like
Power.
Nintendo Power back in the day.
Nintendo
I don't
Power.
think that's existed in forever.
What's the one that had the cheat codes? That would there was one that you'd buy that had like
Game Shark?
No. It was like basically like a yellow pages for cheat codes, and you'd get them monthly and have a different set of games in each one. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I don't know.
Nintendo
I think it's
Power.
like a natural progression, but like, like businesses rise and fall, but like it is sad to see that going away. And I think it's changed a lot now. Like it's controlled, like the game industry is controlled by bigger people now, bigger industries, and so it's just a more complex billion-dollar industry, and it is an end of an era and a very big change to the way things have traditionally, been done.
Yeah, Tips and Tricks. That was the name. Tips
Yeah.
and Tricks.
Oh,
Now, what sucks at Game Informer, I work with that team, or I did, for years and years since I got into the business. And like Brian Shea over there is a great guy. Kyle's great.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched like EIC's changed, from when it was Annie Mac to Rayner to, Matt Bird to Matt Cato leaving. So, I mean, I've watched that team evolve over the last 10 years of just like fantastic writers and just fantastic people, really. But if I'm being completely honest, from like a communications perspective, I'm not that surprised at what happened. I feel like their writing's been on the wall for a while. They did layoffs last year. Um, if you look at their readership numbers, I really think the magazine was probably propping that place up because if you compare like unique visitors per month from Game Informer to an IGN or GameSpot, I mean IGN has like over 20 million unique people visiting a month. Game Informer, like at least from like the software I have, like wasn't even really clipping over 1 million. So I mean, just a vastly different amount of readership. Even though you think Game Informer sits next to IGN, sits next to the GameSpots of the world in terms of popularity, but the readership just wasn't there. And like maybe that's a testament to Game Informer not just becoming like a fucking guides website like Polygon has become,
Mm-hmm.
But for whatever reason, they were not able to sustain the readership that a big outlet like that demands, especially with the amount of video content and travel and things like that were being supported. But I just think, I think it sucks that they shut down, but again, like it's not a surprise. I think what sucks even more is the way that GameStop shut them down. Like they
yeah.
didn't really tell anybody. They switched the landing page to like this AI generated fucking goodbye message, which by doing that prevented all the writers and video team from being able to go on the website and download their old work. So like
Oh
their
my gosh.
portfolios is just gone. And
Mm-hmm.
then today somebody who still had access to the social media account went on and just posted a very short like, hey, we should say goodbye from a team member, we love you guys or whatever. And then they
Deleted their
deleted
Twitter.
the
Yeah.
Twitter afterwards. So the corporate team did, like whoever the fuck shut them down, like went in and like deleted the Twitter. So yeah, just a really fucking terrible like look for GameStop, the way they handle this. And then like the CEO for GameStop over the last like 2 weeks has been just like spamming Trump and all exclamations all over his fucking Twitter and went like super
Unbelievable.
super
Good
MAGA all of a
lord.
sudden. So yeah, it's just a fucking really weird situation that could have just been handled a million other ways that would have been better than the way it was. But
Wow.
yeah, it sucks.
That's sad.
Yeah, that's just cold, right? Like, it's one
Yeah.
thing if they're like, "Hey, this." I agree. Like, it was inevitable. Like, it's just that the medium that can't survive in the current economy and the current way things are with the internet, and it's really shitty. But like, yeah, they should have been able. The company should have been like, "Hey, like, listen, this isn't working out. Here's a month notice. Let's let everybody, do what you got to do. Close out all the current work. Do whatever. Send out the last episode, the last magazine. That way, so we can kind of have one last hurrah. Say goodbye. Take the time to look for new jobs. Shit like that. No, they were just like, tomorrow, you guys don't come in.
Yeah,
Like
it's more
it
like
just seems.
today, like you guys are all out. Like,
Yeah.
like they laid everybody off on a fucking Friday, and so everyone like walked into work that day and was like, or like logged in and found out like I'm assuming like their computer access was like gone and that they were laid
Hmm.
off.
Yeah.
So,
It's just
yeah.
very corporate bullshit. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in our main segment. Last question. This is from Sunshine Sam. Second time writing
Sam,
in. Sam, thank you very much. We appreciate
the
it.
hero.
Says, "What's up, boys? I gotta ask, what franchise do you think is criminally overrated in the gaming world? I would love to see better AAA games for so many things that we don't get. Like more Star Wars. Yes.
Let's
I know
go.
we got some, but I want more. Looking forward to Outlaws. Marvel, we don't have a ton of Marvel games.
I
I would kill
know.
for an
Yeah.
open world X-Men game. Star Trek, Lord of the Rings, DC, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Looney Tunes, etc. I know some, but if not most of these have games, but any that stand out need more attention. Thanks, Sam. Great question.
Great
Dude,
question. Top tier.
I think from a superhero point of view, it's very, very difficult to make the person feel empowered as a superhero, like feel like they're really using that like strength or abilities into a fun experience. Like Spider-Man is a little bit easier, right? Because he does have like super strength and that, but like it allows him to
I don't
like take
know.
on a lot of bad guys in the game, but
I
like
would
you don't.
counter that. Imagine, think of God of War, but as a superhero.
The point is to
Right.
be like, one of my favorite things about playing games is to be a little bit overpowered, but then ways of introducing challenge to that. So like I feel I agree with Sam in the sense that Marvel has just gotten screwed. Like the Marvel Avengers game that came out was bad, like really bad. And it's just like you have this amazing cast, amazing stories. Like, why can't we make something better than this? It's just shocking. It's similar with Star Wars, that Star Wars has never had an open world game until Outlaw.
But
Like,
how do
that
you
makes
create
no
a
sense.
Superman game though that's fun? Because Superman is so powerful. How do you actually create a Superman game that's not just him like fighting the biggest baddies in the fucking universe? Like you can't have regular minions in a Superman game. Like he's just
But
gonna
like
stop.
you can just beat them up, quickly.
Yeah, but that's boring.
Dark side. I don't know.
Think about like Batman games though. Like in the Batman games, like you're Batman. I mean, you still
But
like.
he's still like he's not like insanely powerful. He's like a normal person with gadgets and who's like a fucking assassin, like level like fighter, or samurai, whatever. But he's. I don't know.
But what's
Sorry,
we need to get back on track to the criminally underrated franchises though.
Yeah.
I thought you said overrated.
No, underrated.
Oh.
Like I think you brought up a good point with Star Wars, and the reason Star Wars didn't have so many games is because EA held on to that contract for so long and then they only made like 2 games during that 10-year period. I think they only made like 2 or 3
They
games.
used to have a lot of games.
It was
That's definitely not
Battlefield.
true.
No, it was like Battlefield 1
No,
and
there's
2.
a shit ton of Star Wars games. Star Wars is so many games.
There's
but there
Battlefield
was-
1 and 2. There's also Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Fallen Survivor. Let's see. Yeah. Those
Okay,
are just
okay.
the last
A
like.
ton.
Okay, all right.
But the point being,
There's also
I
Star
mean,
Wars Squadrons.
Yeah, that's true.
Did they make Knights of the Old Republic?
Okay, well, I can never have enough Star Wars games. I don't care.
Good
Okay.
Star Wars games.
Also, I have a problem with Outlaws saying they're the first open world game, because Jedi Survivor would like to have a talk, because that game, as much as it's linear, has very large open world sections. And I would say,
I mean, technically, the Old Republic is open world. That's an MMO.
that's an MMO. That's a little different. But I
don't
mean,
know.
it's not like
Is it that
Ubisoft
different?
formulaic open world, but I would still say it has open world-esque areas. Anyways, not the question. Let's move on.
I'm
Underrated.
just to answer that question. I'm gonna have
Lord
to
of-
say Marvel or like even DC. Like where's the Justice League MMO?
Yeah.
There's a whole topic there. But like, I think the superheroes in general are underutilized in games.
I would like to see more Lord of the Rings stuff. There was a lot of really good Lord of the Rings games, and there
really
has
was.
been Lord of the Rings games. Like, don't get me wrong, like they do trickle one out. Well, yeah, Gollum,
Shadow of Mordor.
Shadow, Mordor, Shadow of War, and a lot of them were really good. And it's like Tencent, I believe, bought the Lord of the Rings IP, and so I actually do think they're going to start pumping out more shit. But it's like, they had trickled them out so slowly. Now that I'm talking about it, maybe there was a lot of Lord of the Rings games, and I'm
There's
just
been
like,
a few. There's been quite a few.
I would like to see like a reboot of like the Return of the King game and stuff like that, like those type of games, because those are really fun. I don't know. I don't
should we
think
Most
I've answered the question.
underrated was definitely One Piece, because there's no good One Piece games.
I agree.
Oh,
there is
undervalued,
a
yeah.
lot of One Piece games though. They're just not all good.
I need a One Piece Sea of Thieves, goddammit. Give it to
Yeah.
me. I don't care who makes it, as long as it's good.
It's a really good question. I don't feel like we answered it well, but
I know I'll have to follow up
maybe
on that one.
Yeah, maybe we'll come back. But okay, we're gonna transition over. But before we dive in, we just want to say we really appreciate everyone who follows and subscribes to us. We post new
I know.
episodes every Tuesday morning, except for Dustin.
Shock.
You can find us on Instagram, Threads, and YouTube at Pixelated Realms Podcasts. Thank you all so much. Okay, so today's big topic, and we'll try and wrap it up within the next 10 minutes, is is this the worst year in gaming ever? And I don't just mean, and okay, maybe that was a little clickbaity and a little
1987
and a little intense, but I don't just specifically mean is this year like dry on video games? Like, are the video games not that good? Though I do think that's a factor in this, but I mean, between the layoffs, between all of the companies closing down, between just all this like negative news. I mean, literally every week, I feel like we have
racism, sexism, everyone's
exactly, some drama. Oh, somebody, like somebody's laid off another 400 people, or this or that, or this is getting canceled, or like you said, people are being racist,
or
and,
just games just coming out and not even existing and. What's the zombie
game?
Right,
that came out. Like, that was the winter game. The day before.
Before,
Yeah. So like, weird. That's why I now with that like context, I repose this question to you guys. Like, do you think this could possibly be like the worst year in gaming, at least in a long time?
I mean, Helldivers has been the biggest release this year, and Helldivers on like a good year would have been considered just like a little sleeper like thing. So yeah, I mean, I agree. It's been a pretty bad year actually. And besides the things that we're looking forward to are things that I don't expect to like be amazing, but I would be very happy if they were, So I don't know. I feel like this year actually has been really tough. But we also had a rockin' year last year. We got Elden Ring last year. We got Baldur's Gate 3 last year. There's probably a dozen others that I'm forgetting about that were also
Elden Ring's 2 years ago.
Either way, we've had some like actually incredible games years in gaming lately. So I think it's about time we had a stretch with
Yeah, and remember though, like we're judging this before AAA season. Like AAA season is coming up. If you look at, last year and you say what was it like before August, we'd probably be having a very similar conversation. So I'm going to hold judgment in terms of like, do I think that from a games perspective, is it a weak year? Too early to tell. We'll see how these games net out with, the Assassin's Creed, Outlaws, see how the Zelda game is. But from an industry perspective, it's been pretty fucking awful. Yeah. Layoffs, I don't know if we've seen more layoffs this year than we did last year. Last year was, I think you could take like the last 18 months as a period and just say it's been fucking bad from like a studio perspective, a worker perspective. It's been terrible. I think the thing that puts it over the top for me this year, at least from that industry perspective, and like I've been a part of some like pretty shitty community moments, where like Battlefield like got ragged on because I had a woman soldier and had done a ton of bullshit around that.
I remember that one.
But
so silly.
So I've been through some like having to like deal with the incel crowd, but I just think like how much it's been amplified. I think it even outpaces like the original Gamergate scandal. Like starting with like just Stellar Blade until now. Like there are literally grifters on the internet right now, like making their whole persona about being like this like piece of shit like person who's like being put on a pedestal because they're like the anti-woke, we're saving video games group, and it's like really just like this cultish behavior that's just attacking anybody that disagrees with them. And like there's a Kotaku writer, and I'm not gonna name her, but like this fucking asshole is like literally making like a new video about her every day, and like it's like doxed her and all this stuff. So it's just bad, and like I said, like that's not even the ringleader of this fucking group. So I'd say that group of people though that are like just creating this like incredibly toxic, even more than normal gaming community is what makes this like arguably like the worst industry year ever.
Yeah, and that's a great point. The online toxicity is definitely like boiling over. I feel like that probably comes from, well, maybe a little bit from our political climate, but I'm not going to go in that direction at all. But the like as a community overall, like most of the normal people, and as an industry, we're trying to press those people out as hard as we can, and so they feel threatened. And when someone feels threatened, they get more and more crazy, right? And so they're really trying to fight back, and they're trying to, like, be heard. But nobody wants to hear them.
Yeah.
And
well, there's a market for them. There is an absolute market for them, of people who feel like they're unheard or whatnot. I mean, look at some streamers like Nick Merckx. The guy like I don't want to say constantly, but has regularly made like anti-trans statements, different things like that. Like he is purposely targeting that audience of like incel toxic parts of the community, and he's not the first. He won't be the last. There's XQC is a very toxic gamer.
Dude, terrible.
Tyler won. So I mean, like they're and like now like you're seeing these journalists or developers like realize that there is a market for being toxic.
Absolutely.
And so, like, will these people ever go away? Probably not, because they're making money. They're getting followers. They're getting interviews. Like, they're getting Patreon donations. These people fucking, again, like put them on a pedestal and turn them into, like, their hero because they're the voice that they wish they had to talk about how the libs are ruining games, or anti-woke. And so, yeah, it's just unfortunate. Yeah, there's an absolute market for that kind of personality. So, no, they're not going to go away.
Yeah, that's a great point. Well, to not end us on a total downer note, I do want to say that, like, and I've said this a few times before, but I'm really hoping that with like what's going to happen is with like all these like layoffs and stuff like that, is we're going to have a resurgence of kind of indie crowd. I really hope. Like for instance, like with Game Informer getting shut down, I'm really, there's no proof that any of this is going to happen, but I kind of hope that those people, all very talented people who clearly had company together essentially, to just not running the business part of it, to a certain degree, can now start their own thing separately, maybe much smaller scale, smaller crowd. But
if you're Nintendo fans, go check out All Things Nintendo. It's Brian Shea's podcast. He was the online editor for Game Informer. He's been doing it for a while. It's got pretty good viewership. But yeah, if you're a Nintendo junkie, All Things Nintendo podcast, go check it out.
Yeah, great shout out. I wish I was more prepared. And we could have everyone who was laid off's like social media links and be like, hey, go follow and support these people. Maybe we can do like a follow-up video or something like that. Or if you're out there listening and you know somebody who's been affected by these kind of things, we'd love to talk to them and have them out on the podcast so they can promote themselves. So but yeah, I'm hoping we see a lot of a lot less big corporate gaming. And I don't, obviously there's a place for that. Like, I'm not saying big corporate is 100%
not going
bad,
away.
but, and they, sometimes you need big money, make big games. But I also like to see when those, like indie kind of crowd comes and surfaces and, they get a bigger market share. So really hoping that happens for sure. Because there's so many unemployed people.
Hoping Star Wars Outlaw is good. Outlaws is good.
Yeah, you'd be both. I'm really banking on Outlaws and Assassin's Creed this year, and Warhammer.
I just need one of them to be good. That's fine.
Any one of those. Yeah. All right, cool. You guys got anything before we close her up?
No, thanks for the questions. Keep them coming.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Don't forget to follow or subscribe when we post new episodes. We post new episodes every Tuesday morning. You can also find us on Instagram, Threads, and YouTube at Pixelated Realms Podcast. Thank you all very much.